this month, the fruit we'll be talking about is kindness. Do you know someone who's always kind? They are probably very nice people, aren't they? Yes. Okay. Kind people are ones who are very giving, maybe with their time, for example. Like when they take the time to call a friend who might have been sick, or take the time to actually go and visit them. Kind people are usually always thinking of other people and not themselves. That can always be a hard thing to do, to think of others. God wants us to take care of ourselves. Yes, that is important. However, to be more like Jesus, we have to help and serve others, and that is the kind thing to do. One way to always show kindness is to give or to share. Don't you just love giving a gift to someone? Maybe when you go to a birthday party and you can't wait for your friend to open the gift that you brought for them, that can always be very exciting. I enjoy watching people smile when they are excited. Right? Sometimes it can be as simple as sharing a snack with a friend or friends. Maybe at school or when you have a friend over to play. One of my favorite snacks to share is grapes. Don't you just love grapes because you can share them so easily? Maybe not, but it's true. You can count them and then divide them to share with a friend. There is a story in the Bible about a very kind woman. Her name was Dorcas, or better known as Tabitha. Now this is where you get involved. Who was Tabitha? Yes, Samuel. Sorry.
She was rose from the dead and answered Peter's prayer.
Exactly. I saw. Yes.
Wasn't she a deer in purple cloth?
That's Lydia.
No, I don't think so. That was
Lydia.
Yes.
She was a very kind lady, and she made things for the widows and their kids.
You hit the nail right on the hammer. Wait, come on. Same difference. All right. So not only was Tabitha kind to other people, like widows, like God tells us to be, but when she died, her friends found Peter, brought him to her, and Peter brought her back to life. People knew how kind Tabitha was, and they did not want her to leave. Do you know of some ways we can be kind? Let's think of some right now. Yes, Sam.
We can give a friend a chocolate bar.
I like chocolate. Good idea. Anyone else? Isaac, right?
Well, you could give a friend a nice note or letter or something, or a great present.
Yes. Very good. Joseph.
You can let your friend play with your toy.
Yes, playing with toys. That's a good idea. All right, one more. I think I have. Yes.
Giving them a gift, or just calling them up and saying, "What you doing?"
And you're very good at that. All right. There are numerous examples in the Bible and history about kindness. Some in the Old Testament is in Genesis chapter 4. After Cain killed Abel, God told Cain that he was cursed. Cain said that the curse was too much for him to bear, and whoever he met would kill him, because Cain killed Abel. Okay? God showed kindness to Cain by protecting him, placing a mark on him, saying, "Whoever kills Cain, he will be avenged 7 times over." That was quite kind, in my opinion, and anyone else's. Also in Exodus chapter 16, While in the desert, the Israelites were whining and complaining that they did not have had enough food. So God showed kindness to them by bringing manna in the morning and quail in the evening. All right, another Old Testament example is in 2 Kings chapter 20. There was a king by the name of Hezekiah. Can you say that? Hezekiah? Hezekiah. Okay, cool. That's a mouthful I can say. King Hezekiah was about to die in chapter 1 through 6. So the king prayed to God to let him live and reminding God that he followed God's laws, saying that if he died, there might not be another person to lead Israel on God's path, because they have a tendency to sin, as do we all. So God showed kindness by healing King Hezekiah and letting him live for 15 years. All right? There's also many examples in the New Testament as well, particularly in Luke chapter 7. Now, all of you know who a widow is? A widow, for those of you who do not know, is a woman who married, but her husband died. Now, this particular widow in chapter 7 had a son, and the only son died. Well, Jesus saw her, the widow, in the town, and had compassion on her. Now, compassion means the kindness in this story, as in many stories. Jesus told the widow not to cry, and Jesus showed kindness by touching the coffin and telling the young man in the coffin to sit up. Now he's dead, so this should never work. But this is where a miracle comes in. The young man sat up and began to speak, and he lived. But we don't know how long he lived, because that's the end of the story. All right. One more example of kindness is from history. Shortly after arriving at Plymouth, the pilgrims and most of those who came sick, and about half of them died, passengers and crew. When the passengers became ill, they were sent ashore onto Plymouth. The passengers took care of each other. At times, there are only 6 or 7 people well enough to take care of the sick people on shore. However, when the crew became ill, they turned on each other and went mean. The passengers who were still on the Mayflower, that were mostly well, showed kindness to the crew, even though the crew were the very same people who had made fun of them in England and had been mean and cruel. Because the crew thought the pilgrims were kind of crazy of going to America because many of the colonies failed. Okay? And once the Pilgrims' Act of Kindness was presented, the crew became a little nicer, which is good. Now, do you have a question?
No, there's another kindness story of Joe who was kind to God and God gave him twice many possessions and twice as many possessions and as many children as birthdays.
Yes. Yes, Job was a very kind man. That is a good example. Since there are many examples, that is one of the multitude. Thank you for bringing that up. Samuel, sorry. All right. I have some snacks for you to share, which are grapes. When you think of the fruit of the Spirit called kindness, I want you to think of grapes here. Kindness is the kind of thing that you can easily share, like grapes, all right? So what fruit can you relate to the fruit of the spirits?
Grapes.
Grapes. Good, all right. Thank you.